In a world that thrives on control, it's hard not to fall into the trap of thinking that everything depends on you, that you are the one who has to make everything happen. But what if, just what if, that's not the case? What if there is a bigger plan in motion? What if there's a higher purpose to everything you're going through, and you don't have to carry the burden of figuring it all out alone? It's natural to want control. After all, we live in a world where we're taught to be the masters of our own fate, to plan, to achieve, to succeed, and to have it all together. But what happens when we hit roadblocks? When life doesn't go according to plan? When everything starts to unravel and we can't make sense of it? The truth is, you can't control everything. You can't control the people around you, the circumstances you're placed in, or even your own feelings all the time. And while that may feel like a weakness, it's actually a profound strength. Because in recognizing that you are not in control, you open yourself up to the power of something greater than yourself. God, the creator of the universe, the one who set the stars in motion, who made the oceans and the mountains, who knows the number of hairs on your head, he is in control. And when you trust in that, when you truly let go, you begin to experience a peace that transcends all understanding. Think about it. How many times have you tried to control the outcome of something in your life, only to find yourself frustrated, exhausted, and defeated? How many times have you spent sleepless nights worrying about things that were completely out of your hands? We've all been there, trying to navigate life as if every twist and turn is something we need to figure out on our own. But here's the thing, that's not the way God designed us to live. He never intended for us to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. In fact, He's always been in control, even when we couldn't see it, even in our struggles, our doubts, and our darkest moments. He's been there, working behind the scenes, orchestrating things in ways we don't always understand. Trusting in God's control doesn't mean that everything will be perfect or that we won't face challenges. It means that we are releasing our own limited perspective and allowing Him to work through us. It means we stop trying to force everything into our own plans and instead trust that His plan is greater, His timing is perfect, and His ways are higher than ours. When you trust in God's control, you give yourself permission to stop striving so hard. Stop battling against the current and realize that you're not alone in the journey. You stop feeling like you have to have it all figured out because you know that God's got it. He's in control of the things you can't control, and He's got a purpose for everything you're going through. Let's be real for a second. Life is hard. There are moments when it feels like the weight of the world is pressing down on you. Moments when everything seems uncertain, and you feel like you're walking through life with a cloud hanging over your head. It's in those moments, though, that you have a choice to make. You can either choose to keep struggling on your own, keep trying to control the chaos, or you can choose to surrender. You can choose to trust that God knows what He's doing, even when you can't see the full picture. And here's the thing, trusting God's control doesn't always mean that things will go according to your plans. It doesn't mean that every desire you have will be fulfilled in the way you expect. But what it does mean is that you will have peace. Peace that surpasses the chaos around you, because you know that God is working on your behalf. So often we make the mistake of thinking that we need to have everything figured out, that we need to be in control of every single situation in our lives. But when we do this, we are denying ourselves the freedom of surrender. We are holding on to things that were never meant to be ours to control in the first place. What would happen if you stopped overthinking? What would happen if you stopped trying to figure out every detail, every move, every outcome? What if instead you simply trusted that God has it all under control, that He knows your needs before you even ask, and that He's already working things out for your good? Imagine waking up every day with the confidence that God is in control, that no matter what happens, He is right there with you, guiding your steps. Imagine having the freedom to live each day without the constant worry that you have to control everything. Imagine walking through life with a calm assurance that no matter how things turn out, God is sovereign, He's got your back, He's got this. And yet, so many of us struggle with this idea. We cling to our need for control because it feels safe, it feels secure. But the truth is, the more we try to hold on, the more we end up exhausted, frustrated, and overwhelmed. The truth is, the more we try to control, the more we miss out on the peace that comes from surrender. There's a beautiful verse in the Bible that says, "Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you." 1 Peter 5:7. What does it mean to cast our anxiety on God? It means we let go. We give up the need to have everything under control, and we trust that God will take care of it. We trust that he is capable, and we surrender our fears, our worries, our uncertainties to him. But here's the thing about trust. It's not always easy. It's not something that comes naturally toward us, especially when life feels unpredictable. But the more we learn to trust God, the more we realize that he can be trusted with everything. He has proven time and time again that he is faithful, that he is good, and that he will never leave us or forsake us. When we choose to trust God's control, we're not saying that everything will be perfect. We're not saying that life will always be smooth sailing. What we are saying is that no matter what happens, we know that God is with us, he is for us, and he is in control. And there is no better place to be than in the hands of the one who holds the universe together. No matter how uncertain your circumstances may feel, no matter how much you might wish you could control it all, God is working. He is moving. He is making all things work together for good. So what does it look like to trust God's control? It means releasing the need for perfection. It means accepting that we don't have all the answers, and that's okay. It means walking by faith, not by sight, trusting that God is guiding you every step of the way, even when you don't see the whole picture. It means choosing to rest in his promises, knowing that he has a plan for your life, a plan that is bigger and better than anything you could ever imagine. It means believing that God's ways are higher than your ways, and that his timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't match your own. So what do you do when the weight of the world feels like it's crushing you? When you feel overwhelmed by the circumstances surrounding you? You stop, you breathe, you trust, you surrender it all to God, and you let him take control. He's got this, and he's got you. Remember, life is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. It's about letting go of the need to control and resting in the fact that God has already gone ahead of you, making a way where there seems to be no way. So trust him. Trust his control. Trust that he is working all things for your good, even when you can't see it. When you let go of your need to overthink and rest in his peace, you will find freedom. The kind of freedom that only comes from knowing that God is in control and that he will never leave you or forsake you. We live in a world that often makes us feel like we have to be in control of everything. From the moment we wake up to the second we fall asleep, it seems like we are constantly striving to manage every aspect of our lives, our jobs, our relationships, our health, our future. They all demand our attention, our time, and our effort. We're told that in order to succeed, we must plan, organize, and anticipate every possible outcome. But here's the problem. No matter how hard we try to control every little thing, life doesn't always play out according to our plans. We can work tirelessly to secure the job we want, only to find that a sudden shift in the market or an unexpected turn in our personal life changes everything. We can build relationships on trust and love, only to have misunderstandings or betrayal shake their foundation. We can make all the right decisions about our health and still face illness or injury. And no matter how much we try to control our future, there are always unknowns that we can't predict or prepare for. In those moments, when things don't go the way we've planned, the first instinct is often to double down. We think, if I just work harder, if I just plan more carefully, if I just control more aspects of my life, I'll be able to make everything turn out the way I want. But the truth is, the harder we try to control everything, the more we become anxious, overwhelmed, and even paralyzed by the weight of it all. We start to feel like we're on a hamster wheel, running in circles, trying to keep up, but never truly getting anywhere. And sometimes, in the pursuit of control, we miss out on the opportunities right in front of us. That's where trust comes in. Trust isn't just about surrendering in the sense of giving up. It's about recognizing that there is something bigger than us at work, something greater than our limited vision and understanding. It's about accepting that we don't have to have all the answers. It's about being willing to let go of the need to control everything and instead believing that there is a plan unfolding, one that is beyond our own comprehension. When we begin to trust, we start to let go of the burden of trying to control every detail of our lives. We realize that we are not meant to carry that weight. The truth is, we are not in control. There are so many things that are out of our hands, things that we can't predict, change, or influence. And that's okay. In fact, that's liberating. Because when we recognize our limitations, we open ourselves up to the possibility of something much greater than we could ever achieve on our own. Trusting in something or someone greater than ourselves is not about passivity. It's about knowing where to place our energy, where to direct our efforts, and where to step back. It's about understanding that we do have a part to play in our lives, but that part isn't to control every outcome. Our part is to do our best, to make the choices we can, and to trust that the outcome will be what it needs to be. We trust that even when things don't make sense, they are still part of a larger plan that we might not fully understand in the moment. And the beauty of trust is that it offers peace. When you stop trying to control every little thing, there's a freedom that comes with knowing that you're not alone in this journey. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders anymore. There is someone who has always been in control, who has always had a plan, and who is working things out for your good, even when you can't see it. So, rather than trying to manage every detail and force things to happen the way we want, trusting in a greater plan gives us the space to live more fully in the present. It allows us to take the next step even when we don't know where it leads, and to rest in the assurance that we are not alone in our struggles. Trust frees us from the need to overthink and overanalyze every decision. It allows us to take a breath and move forward, knowing that ultimately we are not the ones holding everything together. And that is not a weakness. It is a strength. It is the strength to step back and trust that there is something bigger at play, a power that will guide us through even the most difficult moments. When we stop overthinking, stop striving for perfect control, and allow ourselves to trust in a higher power, we experience peace that we can't find in our own efforts. And in that peace, we discover the strength to move forward with faith, knowing that the path we're walking is not ours to define, it's already been set in motion. All we need to do is trust, let go, and believe that the journey will unfold just as it should. Trusting in God's control doesn't mean that everything will be perfect or that life will always go as planned. It doesn't mean that every desire or dream you have will be fulfilled in the way you expect, but it does mean that no matter what happens, you don't have to face it alone. And in that surrender, in letting go of your own need to control every outcome, you begin to experience a peace that surpasses understanding. Think about the moments in your life when everything felt chaotic, when the weight of the world seemed to rest on your shoulders. It's in those moments, when everything feels uncertain, that the temptation to control everything is strongest. We try to figure out every detail, to manipulate every situation to make it work out just the way we want. But in the process, we often find ourselves more stressed, more overwhelmed, and less at peace. That's where surrender comes in. Surrendering isn't giving up or resigning yourself to some fate that you're powerless against. No, it's a conscious decision to trust that God knows what He's doing, even when you don't. It's choosing to stop fighting against the current, to stop battling your circumstances, and instead allowing God to take the lead. When you surrender, you let go of the illusion of control. You realize that you don't have to have all the answers, and you don't have to make everything work out by yourself. You allow God to carry the burdens you were never meant to carry, and you find a peace that doesn't come from trying harder, but from trusting that He has it all in His hands. In that peace, there is rest. You no longer have to keep striving, no longer have to keep pushing against things that are beyond your control. When you stop trying to force everything to go your way, you open up space for God's plan to unfold, even when you can't see it yet. And that is where true peace begins. Think about what it would be like to release that constant pressure of trying to hold everything together, to no longer worry about making every decision perfectly or wondering what could go wrong. When you surrender, You trust that God will lead you, that He will open doors, that He will close others, and that He will make sure you are where you need to be at the right time. This doesn't mean that you stop acting. It doesn't mean you stop making decisions or doing your best, but it means you stop holding on so tightly to the outcomes. You start focusing on doing the next right thing and leaving the rest to God. You give up the need to control the result, and instead, you trust that God is in control of what you can't see. True peace comes from surrendering your expectations and your fears to the one who is sovereign over it all. That peace doesn't make sense to the world because it doesn't come from external circumstances. It's not about everything in your life lining up perfectly. It's about knowing, deep down, that even in the midst of the chaos, you are not alone, that God is with you, and that His plan is always bigger and better than anything you could have imagined. When you surrender, you give up the need to know everything and trust that God's wisdom is far greater than yours. You give up the need to control the timing and trust that His timing is always perfect. You give up the need to understand every step and trust that He is leading you exactly where you need to go. And here's the truth. It's not always easy. The world pushes us to control, to fight for what we want, to make things happen. It feels safer to cling to what we know, to hold on tightly to our own plans. But when you truly surrender, you give up that illusion of control and step into the peace that comes with trusting God. You stop striving and start resting in the knowledge that God is working, even when you don't see it. In surrender, there is freedom. Freedom from worry, freedom from fear, freedom from trying to force outcomes, because you know that God's got it. He's got your life. He's got your future. He's got your heart. And when you surrender to them, you experience a peace that the world cannot give, a peace that will carry you through every storm, every trial, because you know that He is always in control and you are safe in His hands. So take a deep breath and let go. Surrender doesn't mean weakness. It means strength. It's the strength to trust, to release, and to find rest in God's plan, His peace, His presence. It's in surrendering that we truly find freedom, and in that freedom, we find peace, peace that passes all understanding. There's something deeply powerful about having faith in God's plan, especially when life feels uncertain or when things don't go the way we expected. It's easy to have faith when everything is going according to plan, when everything falls into place just as we imagined it would. But what about when the road ahead is unclear, when obstacles arise that seem impossible to overcome, or when life feels like it's spiraling out of control? That's when faith truly matters. It's easy to believe when things are good, when everything is in our control, but faith is about trusting God's plan, even when we can't see the full picture, even when the path ahead feels dark, even when we're walking through difficult and painful seasons. It's in those moments that our faith is tested, and that's when we have the chance to experience the deepest kind of trust, the kind of trust that says, even though I don't understand what's happening, I know that God is at work, and I believe that He has a purpose for everything. It's human nature to want answers, to try to piece everything together in a way that makes sense to us. We want to know why things happen the way they do, why bad things happen to good people, why certain dreams are delayed or shattered. But faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about believing in the goodness and faithfulness of God, even when the answers aren't clear, and trusting that His plan is bigger than anything we could ever understand. Think about all the moments in your life when things didn't go the way you wanted them to, when you faced disappointment, heartbreak, or frustration. In those moments, it's easy to question God's plan, to wonder if He's forgotten about you or if He's even paying attention to your struggles. But the truth is, God never promised that life would always be easy or that we would always understand what's happening. But He did promise that He would be with us every step of the way. He promised that He has a plan for our lives and that His plans are for our good, even when we can't see how it all fits together. Faith in God's plan means believing that God is good, even when life feels hard. It means trusting that He is sovereign over every detail of our lives, even the ones that don't make sense. It means accepting that His ways are higher than our ways, and His timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own expectations. When we choose to have faith in God's plan, we stop trying to force things to happen on our own. We stop scrambling to control every detail, and instead, we surrender our plans to Him. This doesn't mean that we don't make plans or set goals, but it means that we hold those plans loosely, knowing that God can direct our steps and change our course at any time. It means being open to His leading, even when it takes us places we didn't expect, or even places we don't want to go. Faith in God's plan is about trusting His purpose, even in the waiting, even in the confusion, even in the pain. Sometimes it's hard to see how everything is working together for good, but the Bible tells us that God works all things for the good of those who love Him. That means that every trial, every setback, every detour is part of His greater plan, and He's using it all to shape us, to grow us, and to bring us closer to Him. In those moments when you can't see the way forward, when you don't understand why things are happening the way they are, that's when your faith is the most important. Because faith says, even when I can't see it, I trust that God has a purpose, and I trust that He will make a way. And here's the beautiful thing about having faith in God's plan. It brings peace, peace that surpasses all understanding. When you know that God is in control, when you believe that He is working behind the scenes, when you trust that He has your best interest at heart, you don't have to worry, you don't have to feel anxious or fearful about the future, because you know that the one who holds the universe in His hands is also holding your life, and He will guide you through whatever comes your way. Faith in God's plan means that you don't have to have it all figured out. It means that you don't have to carry the burden of having every answer. You can rest in the fact that God's got it. His plan is unfolding, even when you can't see the next step. And that is enough. There are times in life when we want things to happen in our timing. We want things to be resolved quickly. We want the pain to end. We want to see the results right now. But God's plan often works in seasons. And sometimes we have to trust that the waiting, the uncertainty, and even the struggle are part of the process. It's in those times that God is doing something in us. He's strengthening our faith, deepening our trust, and preparing us for what's to come. So even when things don't make sense, when the road is long, when the answers are unclear, have faith that God is at work. Trust that He has a plan for you and that He is guiding your steps. Every twist and turn in your journey has purpose. Even the hard times, even the challenges, they're all part of a bigger picture, one that you may not fully understand now, but one that will make sense when you look back and see how God worked it all together for good.